What are some keys? What do the Buckeyes need to do to take down the top seed, the number one, and have been for a while, the Georgia Bulldogs, who they'll meet in the semis?
It's going to be tricky. I mean, the number one thing I think if you're the Ohio State defense, you can't sleep on Stetson Bennett. I know, when it comes to the four quarterbacks in the playoff, he may be the least heralded, maybe as far as especially NFL draft stocks go. But I mean, he's played well, since the national championship game win against Alabama. It seems like he's taken a step forward. That offensive line is always tough. They have a stable of 3-4 running backs that they just kind of rotate in and out to keep fresh. They're going to kind of keep hammering the football. Brock Bowers is an all-world tight end. I mean, the man's a walking mismatch. And, he's got top 10 NFL potential written all over him. It's unfortunate for him that he can't go into the NFL until after next season. He's got to go play one more year of college football. But there's some interesting weapons out there. I think Todd Monken, the Georgia offensive coordinator, might be one of the most unsung, assistant coaches in college football because of the influence he's had on Kirby Smart and the impact he's had on that offense, getting those concepts to go well, marrying the run and the pass extremely well. It always seems like they have a good plan in place. And against that Georgia defense, they've done an amazing job to reload that defensive front. I mean, we saw all those guys that, went to the NFL, and this defense really hasn't had a drop-off. Obviously, you got some, veteran players who have had an impact. Jalen Carter along the defensive line, Robert Beal at linebacker, Kelee Ringo, who had the pick six in the national championship a year ago. And they filled in with some interesting players around them, including Smell London, the linebacker, and Malachi Starks, true freshman safety, who's done a very nice job. So if you're Ohio State, you just like in 2014 against Alabama, you can't be afraid of that defense. You got to attack them, and you got to be willing to run the football. Even if you struggle with it, you got to at least show it, and you got to keep not being afraid to go to it to kind of show that you're willing to do it, and that you can't let Georgia get into a situation where it could just tee off on C.J. Stroud, because we know he hasn't been willing. He has had issues, with willingness to run, which is something he's going to have to fix. He's going to have to become a more willing runner, especially, with just how aggressive Georgia is, how fast they are. If you have a quarterback that can move and get yards with his feet, that could be an equalizer. We've seen that for so many years throughout college football. He's going to have to be at his best. The receivers are going to have to create separation. All in all, I think Ohio State is going to have to play its best game of the season to really beat Georgia. And when you look at this matchup, I think of the three teams in the playoff outside Georgia, Ohio State might honestly, of the other three teams, have the best chance to upset and knock off the Bulldogs.